Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Fantasy Football Show with No Name. My name is Clint. You can call me Champ, and I'm back. Champ is back after and as always, I'm joined by my big Ferg, Mr. Jeff. How you doing today, sir?
What's going on? What's going on? Like my man Cam says, I'm back.
Hey, Ferg, we can't really hear you, bro. Your mic okay?
I hope so. Can you hear me? Am I faded
Okay,
off
there we
into
go. There we go.
internet?
We got you. Yep, now we got you. We didn't have you before. We heard some noises coming from over there. So we just
Blame
wanted to
down
make
here.
sure that we had it. Mr. Ferg, how's everything going? How's everything going with you, sir?
Everything's great. It's Charlotte sports are good. Miami was half good last week. Kane sucked ass, but that's always. Report cards came out around these parts, but that's a whole nother show. We need like a whole nother hour for that show.
Uh-oh. Let's go on the NC 100 page and talk about that. And yes, Lauren, we will be talking about Mr. Jones. All right. So let's just jump right into it, bro. I had a really wise. I was playing the number one seed in our league record, Mr. J.E., who has joined us on the show before. And dude, he had a bad week, still beat me, bro. Like I don't know what to say. This is what I can say. I had Aaron Rodgers. We'll talk about that later. I was forced to play AP, so that was fun. It didn't work out very well. My highest scoring person on my team was at 19.02 points. And whenever your defense is your highest scorer and it's under 20 points, and your quarterback is Aaron Rodgers, most of the time you're not going to be winning. So, how'd you do in Hoof this week?
I stunk. I had a stinker. I went out on the limb and thought that I would be slick, see if I could pull Russell Wilson back to bring me from the depths of hell, and he was ass. He was pure ass. I got beat down. So currently I am sitting on the outside of the playoffs, looking at everybody else frolic around. But hopefully, we come back. Stephon Diggs made a reappearance for me.
Yep.
Came back huge. I know all Buffalo fans got to love that, but still can't get anything out of Cooper. No matter how many points the fucking Cowboys score, I still can't get nothing to do out of Cooper. And then I left. Who knew? I left Carolina
like 4 for 55.
Yeah, he was terrible. But Carolina defense came to show up. Panther fans are great about that. Hunter Henry is turning into every week tight end, way better than some of the tight ends that we took 12 to 13 spots before him. So we'll see if we can juggle something around.
Okay.
Let's see.
So pause there for a second. Pause there for a second. Let's talk about Henry. So all dude does is score touchdowns. 7 games he's played in, 7 touchdowns he has. Now he's had a couple of multi-touchdown games. I think 2 multi-touchdown games. So there's a couple of games he's missing a touchdown in. But didn't he have 14 yards and 2 touchdowns or something like that? It was it's pretty silly. Okay. Anyway, so go ahead and continue.
Yeah. I mean, I think both of us underscored last week. He had Dak and Darrell Williams. He only scored 115 points, and they scored 55 between those two. So, I mean, if most people out here that play fantasy or real football parlay sheets, you probably looked at your sheet and probably tossed it. You probably tossed it after Miami beat Baltimore. So you were probably in trouble from Thursday night on. Anybody that's a degenerate gambler like the rest of us.
Yeah, that's facts. That's facts. It was just what? Anyway, for about that, we have a whole nother show about the Dolphins if you want to, bro. I think we can manage that because
that would be
there's something. They're gonna fire their. Are they gonna keep them? Who knows? Yeah. So, Ferg, like while we're talking about our teams, Ian wants to know how many of his 9-1 teams you're going to beat this week.
Okay, I
In the
play in
leagues
a
together.
couple of different leagues with Ian. He is for lack of a better words, he is the GM that the Detroit Lions need. His teams are all loaded. I don't know. He has teams that have like 6 out of the 7 top running backs, where he has benches where Barkley hasn't seen the field yet. He's still 9-1. I play against him in a couple of our dynasty leagues this week. Maybe he'll be nice and sit one of his people on the bench, let me sneak into playoffs, some collusion. I'll see what his favorite liquor is or something, see if I can send him something in the mail, buy my way into the playoffs or something like that. Who knows?
just to help you get into the playoffs.
Yeah.
That's some real that's some NBA ref stuff. So
hey, you gotta do what you gotta do.
All right. So yeah, I mean, yeah, bro. What do you? I mean, you know, if you ain't cheating, you ain't trying, right? Isn't that what they always say? All right. So let's talk about won you some games this week. Let's talk about some players that were on the right side of the weird ass week last Sunday and Thursday. All right, I got to start off just because Deandre Swift has been a champion for me all year. He only scored 16 points this week, but that dude just consistently scores. He had 33 carries, 130 yards, and he tacked on 8 catches. Tacked on 3 catches, but had 6 targets, but 3 catches were only for 5 yards. Like, we'll talk about that. Another player that did something similar to that in a little while, but man, 3 catches for 5 yards, that's really hard to do. But the catches counted as, and so I have Deandre, and then Matt Breida. He's not even, that whole back is so ridiculous.
Oh God.
So Justin Jefferson is on. They said he needed to be targeted more. He was targeted 11 times just for a free. Didn't see the end zone, but that's okay. 23 points. Antonio Gibson. Gosh, it's like, when do you play this guy? Like, when do you play this? 24 carries. So obviously the shin wasn't an issue on Sunday. 64 yards and 2 touchdowns against the Bucks. The Bucks that you're not supposed to play running backs against. And especially
we need to talk about Tampa Bay, because Tampa Bay is not legit anymore. Bro. Not on defense. We need to have a whole hour about them not really being legit. I don't know if they're really even the favorites anymore. Not like we were talking about 2 or 3 weeks ago. No, they're not.
Well, I mean, who is the favorite right now? So the Bucks losing, Lauren. The Bucks lose, like, they got walked, bro. They got walked. So we can talk about that after we get through the other stuff if you want to, because I'm all down for that. All right. So, all right. Then, of course, Dearness Johnson came in because all the Cleveland Browns do is run the damn ball, and so he had how many carries did he have? 19 for 99, and he added 7 catches for 58 targets.
That'll get it done.
Yeah, that's what we were just talking about, man. It's not as good as it used to be. That's for sure. Not as good as it was projected to be. Anyway, and honorable mention. Here's my last one, Ferg. JT, Jonathan Taylor. He's on top of this list. He should always be on top of this list. Well, he has pretty much for the last like 5 or 6 weeks. But anyway, Devonta Smith, whatever you want to call him, however you want to pronounce his name. 6 targets, 4 catches, 66 yards, 2 touchdowns. The 2 touchdowns did save him from being a total fantasy bust so far. Fantasy bust, not real football bust, because he's actually a pretty good receiver. So that's what I have, Ferg. What say you on the stars of the week?
Stars of the week. All right. So again, I won't be accused of being a hater. We'll go Dak first. 24-31, 296 yards, 2 touchdowns, 5 rushing yards, another touchdown, and he did that in 3 quarters. So can't knock that. The return of the Messiah, Mr. Mahomes, 35 of 50, 406 yards, 5 touchdowns. We damn sure needed that. We've been waiting on that for a long time. Oh, I needed that one.
66 points, bro.
I
Dude,
needed
66
that.
points. He beat one. Whatever. I didn't want to bring it up, but so.
A guy. This is a
All right,
guy
is that all
we
you got
talked
on
about.
the goodness?
Oh, where's the Gaskin jersey? Is that the question in the chat here? Where's the Gaskin jersey? There will never be a Gaskin jersey that will make the wall of shame here. Never. That's never going to happen. This is never.
Is there
One
another
last guy.
37 that could make the wall of fame back there?
Yeah, it's never going to happen. Never going to happen. I got one more. A guy that I was having a chat with one of my 49er friends during the game. Debo, 5 catches, 97 yards and a touchdown, lined up in the backfield 5 times, got another 36 yards and a touchdown. We were having an interesting debate, you and I can have this later, about whether if Debo played in Dallas, New York, or LA, the over-under on how many national TV commercials he would have. For some reason, even with all the 49er fame, people just don't recognize in the National Football League or across America that this dude is probably top 3 to 4 wide receiver for some reason. Gets no love. Never hear his name ever. And this dude, all he does is kill everyone. So that was this week. Those are my gold stars.
You never hear his name, Ferg. You know why you never hear his name, Ferg? Is because his quarterback is Jimmy Garoppolo. That's why
Jimmy was getting a lot of media love.
I mean,
pre-Super Bowl.
I totally agree. Pre-Super Bowl. Yeah, bro. Come on.
Pre-Super
Bowl. Like this dude, Debo, I completely agree with you. I agree with you on the Debo, man. I think like I was listening to something the other day, and they were talking how great he has been in yak. Right. So this dude, nobody can bring him down. Right. So I think he's averaging like 11 yards or 7.5 yards after a catch, which is insane. But anyway, all right. So let's talk about some players that were not so good before we get your Burnett's bottom shelf player of the week. I know who it will go to if it was my choice, and I'll start with him, is Mr. Hockenson. Okay. So here's my problem. It's not with Hockenson. It's with Jared Goff and whoever's calling the plays there in Detroit, because he had one target. And he played 87% of the snaps in 5 quarters. 5 quarters. He played all 5 quarters. And this dude got one target. What? Yeah, Joe, that's what I was saying. He leads the league. Yeah, his yak yards are on a historic level. So it's pretty nasty. Gesicki got a 0 too. Yeah. So, it was not a really good week for tight ends for my man Travis Kelce, who had a good week, finally. But that was corresponding with, Patrick Mahomes, of course. A.J. Brown, he had 4 targets, 1 catch, 16 yards. Like, this dude's been on a tear, and then everything just falls to shit sometimes with Ryan Tannehill. And then Aaron Rodgers, man, like, how disappointing. Yes, it was snowing. Yes, it was cold, blah, 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 blah.
It's fucking Green Bay. That's not new.
17 points. Like, he's used to that, though. Like, he's put up, like, normal snow games. This is what Aaron Rodgers did. 18 for 22, 214 yards, 4 touchdowns. Right? That's the kind of games he normally has in bad weather when it's up there in Green Bay. He's getting over COVID, my ass. He's immunized, Lauren. He's immunized. It's that spring water and red mud, right, Joe?
Yeah, Joe Rogan cured him, so he can't use that. He can't use that. Joe Rogan laid healing hands upon the discount double check belt and proclaimed him immunized. So no, he can't use COVID as his excuse. Immunized.
He is getting over his ego, Lauren. Ian, that's absolutely true. Man, I don't hate on his Lauren. He got enough confidence to rock it with you, bro. I'm all right with it. All right, Ferg, give us your people who shat upon you this
The
week,
chat
and then let's hear
was
your Burnett's bottom shelf.
a lot of competition for that, but Russell Wilson, 20 of 40, 161 yards, 2 picks. Stafford, the Lions, Matt Stafford has made his appearance. I was waiting my time for him to show up, and he's finally here. 243 yards. He did throw a bullshit touchdown, 2 interceptions. He put OBJ on the spot by throwing that duck out to him, making OBJ have to make a fucking tackle. That's not what they brought him there for. Lamar kicked off Thursday night with a big dump. 238 yards, a touchdown, an interception, but only 9 rushes for 39 yards. You can't even play Lamar if that's all he's going to do. And then after we talked about the resurgence of Kelsey and them coming back, and Hawkinson and then Gesicki, this guy went before all of them. Waller, 4 catches for 24 yards on 7 targets. He hasn't had a game this year with less than 7 targets, and he only has 1 fucking touchdown all year. So he had to be, depending on where you drafted, the second tight end you took after Kelsey.
Oh yeah, for sure. And after the first week, Waller owners were very happy, and 19 targets in the first week, and everybody's like, "Yep, this is the way it's going to be." And no, it hasn't been. Okay. So who gets your Burnett's bottom shelf player of the week?
Burnett's bottom shelf player of the week. I mean, a guy we already mentioned. I had to share. They're sharing a bottle. So we're just going to double back and let them share the bottle. Hawkinson and Gesicki, that's fucking unacceptable. I mean, you say, what do you play, 80 snaps?
I get it.
And Gesicki had to play about,
87%
I would say, maybe 6
of the snaps.
So Hawkinson and Gesicki, they sucked ass. You can tell us in the comments who killed you this week. I'm going with those 2 guys because I own a lot of stock in all 3 of those tight ends. I'm not fortunate enough to be a Kelsey owner anywhere, but those 3 guys are kind of the tight ends I targeted, thinking that this was going to be a year of the tight end, and they all are ass.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, okay. So Ferg, let's go through these comments a bit. So let me roll up. Let's just, we can't even talk about it. It's Ron Wilson. Yes, agree. They're all terrible. And the AJ Brown we mentioned, he was not good. And Brady saved himself, as you said, or somebody's him, because he would have been on this list for sure. And Ian Hollywood, but that's a give and a take with Hollywood. I mean, you gotta. Sometimes you're going to have those 4 catches for 13 or 4 catches on 13 targets for whatever yards he has. But I'm going to sit here and tell you what, you're also going to have those games he catches 4 catches on 5 targets for 197 yards. You just got to take the good with the bad, and wide receivers. So it fluctuates so much on any given day, any given week. So, wide receiver is the weirdest position to draft in fantasy football, or to have in fantasy football, try to predict, because they're so up and down. All right. So I want to talk about waiver wire stuff, right? Arizona's D, Cam. Oh, we're going to talk about Cam.
We're going to talk about
Cam because Jeff wants to talk about the Panthers. Let's do that after we do these next 2 things. Then we'll give Ferg some time to talk about the Panthers. So waiver wire pickups of the week. Let's talk about. I want everybody to think about the waiver wire pickups and what's available in your league, and put in the comments who's the top person to waiver wire. Running back. That's what I want to know. Really, be so freaking thin at this point. Who's available in y'all's leagues? So, but first, let's talk about this. Ferg, I kind of teased you with this before we came on the air. Best fantasy playoff schedules. All right, in order.
Okay.
Philly, Arizona, Chargers, Niners, Pack, Cowboys. Okay. So when you're looking at waiver wire, you can't look for just this week, right? Everybody understands you can't look for just the week that's coming up. I mean, sometimes you need a streamer, streaming defense, streaming quarterback, and there's still bye weeks going on, so maybe. But like, you want to also look ahead, right? So if Jalen Hurts, for example, is available in your league for some odd reason, or you're struggling at quarterback, but you're really heavy on wide receivers, maybe running backs, maybe you have a tight end like Kelsey or Darren Waller, you can trade high maybe still at this point, and try to pick up Jalen Hurts. He has the easiest. If you're already entrenched in the playoffs and don't have to worry about making the playoffs, it's a good play to have, because if you're this dude, he's averaging what, like 27 fantasy points, 26 fantasy points, because it's he gets a lot with his feet. But they have the easiest schedule come fantasy playoffs 15, 16, and 17, followed by Arizona. I don't even know if you could trade for Kyler Murray. He might be one of those untouchables that people don't want to mess with, but you could also look at Edmonds if he's going to be coming back, trading low for Chase Edmonds right now. And, maybe you can spend a little bit more than you want to on James Conner, because he's still been scoring touchdowns even when Chase Edmonds was there. Chargers, I don't know what Mike Williams at this point. Nobody really knows what you can do Mike Williams at this point, but you can also probably trade pretty low for Keenan Allen. You'd have to spend up to get Austin Eckler, but you could probably get Justin Herbert for a lower price than you might think for Herbert, right? Then the Niners, Packers, and Cowboys. I mean, so you can just take these 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 teams again. If hey Danye, can you put these in the chat? Philly, Arizona, Los Angeles Chargers, Niners, Packers, Cowboys. So I'll put those in the private chat while Ferg's talking about the Panthers. But everybody be thinking about that. Thinking about if your trade deadline hasn't come up yet, and you can trade, that's on this list. If it would be an upgrade from what you have, you might have to give away something that you didn't necessarily want. But you could trade like a Darren Waller and a Mac Jones or something like that for like a Dawson Knox and something like that. Like try to get creative, right? All right. So now let's talk about some waiver wire pickups. I agree with you, Lauren. If Ramondre Stevenson is in your on your waiver wire and you have room, got to grab him, right? You got to grab him. And Damian Harris did practice today.
He did practice.
However, he's still in concussion protocol. I don't think he's been taken out of concussion protocol. He had limited practices the last 2 days. All that he's playing. So Ramondre, it'd be a good stash just to have in case Damian gets hit in the face again, because you never know. Then I got Jeff Wilson, because I don't know if everybody heard the news. Elijah Mitchell, Kyle Shanahan, don't think he's going playing Jaguars, and they've had some pretty good defensive outputs the last couple of weeks. I mean, shit, they held the Bills to 6 points, for goodness sake, right? And Berg, let's talk about this for a second. Oh, he cleared concussion protocol. Okay, great. So that's Ramondre Stevenson, still a good hold. You just never know. So Ferg, let's talk about this for a second, man. Me and you talked about this off air. Like, I'm going after your hands, bro. Like, I'm going to fall, but I'm trying to hit your hands, right? So if Elijah Mitchell plays like Kyle Shanahan says he's going to play, then that's going to be something to look at. And I hope Jeff Wilson does. I was able to pick him up on my waiver wire, so hopefully he does get the majority of the carries. So Ferg, you tell me, man. You tell me. You going after Elijah's hands, bro?
I'm taking the late hit on the penalty. First play of the game. First carry he gets, I'm driving my helmet right into the middle of his hand, and he's going to get that every time until I see him on the sidelines, because I want Jimmy G to have to throw the ball to beat us. It's just that simple. I mean, it's not complicated. You don't need these exotic schemes or anything like that. But on the bottom of the pile, I'm pulling his finger. I'm smacking it. I'm doing everything I can do.
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. I'm trying to get it caught in my face mask, right? Like, I'm trying all the things. I heard somebody say something interesting, talking about football, and 49ers, and it was a Niners fan that I was talking to, and he said, if you pay attention, he said they're using the run game to get to third down, and the only time Jimmy G passes the ball is on third down. And I was like, you know what? I never even thought about it like that, but it makes sense. And yeah, Jimmy G looked good. Like, that's what happens when you have like 22 attempts and 198 yards and 2 touchdowns, and Deebo Samuel. So, Deebo makes him look a hell of a lot better. Plus, they have a running game. I mean, they run the ball more than anybody in the damn NFL. So, besides maybe the Ravens, but they're pretty good. They're pretty good. I think they have the Lions this week, if I'm not mistaken.
49ers got Jacksonville.
If they do,
49ers got Jacksonville.
Oh, that's we were just talking about that. Yeah, so they got Jacksonville. It's like, I mean, Jacksonville's better. They're better, but they should be able to win that game. You know what I mean? All right, so to wrap mine up, Mac Jones, streaming option. I'm playing the freaking Falcons, you guys. And I don't know if you guys are watching the Falcons football this year, but it ain't great. It ain't great. So they're the third best defense to play fantasy quarterbacks against. So that's definitely a good streaming option if he's available. And I have a stat for you, Ferg. I told you this before we came on the air. So let the people, and then we'll get to yours, and then you can start talking about the Panthers. Joe, I'm gonna leave that to Ferg to talk about. So Kendrick Bourne. If Kendrick Bourne is available, pick him up if you have a spot for a wide receiver. Week three of this fantasy season, Kendrick Bourne is the 15 wide receiver, number 15 wide receiver. Okay? And like you're talking about 11.4 fantasy points a game. All this dude is doing is scoring double digits. He's like Tim Patrick. Nobody thinks about him.
Nobody.
Right? But he has a cool name. So if Tim Patrick had Kendrick Bourne's name, like Tim Patrick would be on every roster on fantasy football. so he's just hiding it where wide receivers go to die and wide receivers also go to win championships in New England. So, the only person that made it out of there alive was Randy Moss, and that was only halfway. So, Ferg, what say you on this, man?
Waiver wires. I mean, we'll save a guy we were just going to talk about. Yep. I said I'm starting off with D'Onta Foreman if he's still around. If he's still around, Titans really want to run the ball. If you know any history on Tannehill, you don't want Tannehill throwing the ball all over the field. That's to try to win your game. Lauren will like this one for us. Our favorite friend Lauren will like this one. Traquan Smith. I'm going with Traquan Smith. He's getting a lot of targets down there with New Orleans. Of course, we already talked about Ramondre, even though Damien's coming back. We already know Bill doesn't really give a damn about your fantasy team. So if Ramondre can get him any yards,
you don't give a shit.
He's going to run both. A guy we hadn't talked about yet, an injury we hadn't talked about, want to stay hot, especially with the Thursday night game on Cordell Patterson's ankle. Wayne Gallman got 80% of those carries after Cordero went down, even though they were getting blown out. I don't want any parts of Mike Davis, even though I actually own him in the league and my running backs are so hurt and terrible that I actually have to start him. But Wayne Gallman should be a name if you can make a late run with him. And another name that's been sitting on the bench for a while, we hadn't talked about Michael Gallup. Michael Gallup may be kind of pushing Dalton Schultz. Yeah, Gallup was there Sunday. He looked good. Kind of pushing Dalton Schultz a little bit further down the target tree as well. So, I mean, those are my big names. And then, of course, the name we've been leading up to, Cameron Jarrell. Cameron Jarrell Newton. Now, I know most people kind of fall on one side or the other with Mr. Newton. You love this guy or you hate him. I am a fan of utter foolishness. When Cam took his helmet off after that first touchdown, that was the single greatest thing I have seen in football probably since Marino was playing. That was awesome. That was the greatest thing. It was so unscripted, so pure. That was a big, I mean, I hope none of our kids are watching, even though my kids are running around this house somewhere. A big F you to David Tepper. F you to every other sports media guy that's been saying Cam isn't shit, Cam's shoulders fucked up. Here's a little small middle finger to our own commissioner. He hates Cam Newton as well. But I mean, if your quarterback is hurt and you've seen some of the numbers that some of these big quarterbacks are putting down, I'm just looking at and we keep saying that the Tampa Bay Bucks defense is ass. So I'm looking at the Panthers schedule the rest of this way. And we go Washington, my Dolphins, the Falcons, probably going to struggle with the Bills, but I mean, it is what it is. Then you get the Bucks, you get the Saints. We don't know what the Saints are going to look like by the time January 2nd rolls around. Nope. And then you get the Bucks again in Tampa Bay at the end of the year. You could do worse. And like I said, we were talking about avoiding. I was trying to structure my lineup to kind of avoid Buccaneers players and stuff like that when the fantasy playoffs came around. But hell, if you got two great running backs, decent wide receiver, you could do worse. Especially if you have the Panthers defense somewhere stashed. They've been top 7 all year before this. Now, the only person that worries me with the Panthers with the return of Cam is that DJ Moore hasn't looked like shit regardless of who's been playing. So hopefully he can get DJ Moore back on track. Somehow they can find a way to get the ball to DJ Moore. Short pass, bubble screen, something to get him back on track. But other than that, I'm all in on Panthers. Until they show me utter explosion, I'm all in. Let PJ throw the ball, put Cam in on the short package, and let's do that.
Well, so let me. I want to address something that that Joe said. So, the Robbie Anderson thing. I'm all good with picking up Robbie Anderson. I'm a huge Robbie Anderson, but I'm going to tell you what I'm not a fan of: Cameron Newton's lack of arm strength, and I don't believe he has any. So we'll see. I mean, just the way he throws the ball it looks as I said in this show, it looks like left-handed. Like it's just not great. So I want to read something to you, Ferg, that I'm pretty sure you saw. I think I might have sent it to our group text. And this goes to Mr. Dave Tepper, who you are such a huge fan of. Right? Yeah. You ready for this one?
Okay.
David Tepper is currently paying Cam's replacement, the replacement for Cam's replacement, and Cam placed the replacement for his own replacement. If that doesn't sum up the Panthers in a little bit of words, I don't know what does. So I really don't know what does. So it's just one of those things, bro. That's like, why are you going to why do you think he signed back with the Panthers?
Why do I think he signed back with them? I mean, in Cam's own words, Cam said he was sitting at home eating cereal. That's what he said he was doing last week. He was sitting at home eating cereal. But I think at some point, David Tepper, regardless of him having to pay 3 NFL contracts, plus if he's paying any money to Will Grier, I don't know if he's paying Will Grier any money or not either. But he is a billionaire. He has to have somewhat of a bit of sense when it comes to business. I don't know what Cam's shoulder looks like in March of, 2020 or 19 maybe? I don't know. Oof. That's business. But business now says that this dead-ass dog that we brought in here and then Teddy Two Gloves wasn't going to get it. Panthers needed some juice.
Nah.
There is no more juice than Charlotte. I would argue with anyone in Charlotte, any Charlotte sports fans, that with the exception, even though he doesn't play here, with the exception of Curry, maybe Larry Johnson and Kuechly, that Cam, probably the biggest sports star ever in the city of Charlotte, bigger than Mourning. Definitely bigger than Mourning. Mourning never had 9 commercials going on nationally at one time. Mourning doesn't bring the
Larry Johnson,
the hate. Grandmama was good, but Grandmama would probably been better if he was around in the social media era. But Cam was built for this. Cam was built for
Steve Smith,
for Instagram. Nah, not Steve Smith. Steve Smith is nice now. I think more people appreciate.
Oh, come on, Ferg.
No. I'm saying as a Charlotte icon, I think more people appreciate Steve Smith now that he doesn't play
Cam
for Charlotte.
sure.
But Cam, definitely probably the greatest Charlotte, not the best sports athlete, but the greatest Charlotte icon in sports history. So, if for nothing else, even if the Panthers were 0-7, 0-8, whatever it is, you would still bring Cam back because we just got to put some butts in the seat. I saw something last week when Cam signed last week. After we had already talked, this was the next day. The lowest ticket price at the top of the stadium, $77. That was at 10 o'clock that morning. I think that story broke 10:25. By the time I sent you that text of the picture with him and David Tepper, it was about 12:30.
Yeah.
Upper level seats, price was up to $127. That was for the Washington game. Now, if they beat Washington, they beat Washington, then they beat who else? Who did we say was the next? They beat Washington. They beat the Dolphins. They're sitting in the last wild card spot. That firmly puts them in the last wild card spot. They get the Falcons again. So you're talking possibly 3-game winning streak by the time they roll into having to go up to Buffalo. Ticket price is ridiculous. All the fake Panther fans who burned Cam's jersey and say they no longer love him are going to be back buying new number ones. Might get slid. I don't know if there's a possibility to slide the Panthers Bucks game into any kind of flex scheduling, depending on what goes on with other teams. But Cam just brings the juice. That's not happening with Darnold, PJ Walker, and I'm not mad at PJ Walker. He is what he is. I say play PJ Walker
look good.
In the 80s. Play him between the 80s, between the 20s. I'm sorry, 20 to 20. Give it to PJ. From the 20 on in, number one has to come trotting on the field, and it'd be no question. Should be not a question. Normally, I'll say you got 2 QBs, you have none. But in this case, that's like playing 3 running backs. They're playing the wishbone. They were running the wishbone out there against Arizona, and Arizona couldn't stop it. And it's just that.
Dude, they should definitely. I agree with you. They should definitely play PJ Walker between the 20s because he can sling the damn ball, man. I mean, his decision making is a little, Yeah. But that's why he's a career backup. But he can sling the damn ball and he can run. He's pretty quick, bro. So I'm not mad. I want to circle back to something real quick. When we were talking about free agents to pick up, and you said Foreman,
yes,
running back for the Titans. McNichols is in concussion protocol. I just found out about that a few hours ago. And so if anybody wants to, think about if you have to start AP, this would be the week to do it because McNichols isn't going to be out there. So if you have to start AP, this would be the week to do it. And by the way, the biggest over-under this week is that KC-Dallas game at 56. So KC's favored by 2.5. So this is you want everybody that's associated with this game. Got any Cowboys or any fucking Chiefs, you got to play them dudes. Like you want every piece of that action. All right. So anything else you want to touch on? Injuries this week. So Aaron Jones is out 1 to 2 weeks with a sprained MCL.
AJ Dillon is big.
Talking about.
AJ Dillon's going to be huge this week.
AJ Dillon's big, of course.
AP is washed. AP is washed, maybe, but AP is also an X-Man.
But so whatever.
AP is on the Cam. I put AP in the same boat with Cam.
He's
10 yards and in. You rather get the ball, turn around and get the ball to. He's not human. He's not a real dude.
No, he's a Hall of Famer. You'd rather turn around and give the ball to a Hall of Famer.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to run him 30 times a game. 7 carries inside the 10. Yeah. Give me AP.
Fine.
Yeah, give me AP.
Yeah, it's fine. It's fine. No problems. All right. So anybody else hurt that we need to talk about that we watched over we haven't talked about yet?
Not that I know of. I mean, the comment section has a better injury report than we're seeing to be getting today. So if they have anybody out there,
Russellson does not look good.
No, he does. He didn't look good before that, though. He didn't look good before that.
Yeah. No, he didn't. But when he comes out after the game and says, we played well enough to win, it's like, bro, y'all didn't score. So not really sure how you played well enough to win when you score. So anyway, no. I'm not talking about Cam. So Cam, Cam can't really throw the ball. Like, he hasn't shown me that he can throw the ball downfield. Maybe that was the offense. Maybe that was the Patriots'
we're not
offense.
saying in terms of ability. I'm saying goal line package, short yardage. I'd rather have Cam than PJ Walker in the game. Plus, you still got you got to help. You got to help your CMC. That cancels out anything of having to worry about Cam winning the game because you got CMC. At least for now. At least for another week, we got CMC. So.
No, what we're talking about, Joe, is based on straight reputation and just being that dude for as long as possible. AP is that dude. Like, he is that dude. He is a Hall of Famer, first ballot, no questions asked, Hall of Famer. So, and that's all we're saying. So we're not saying that Cam isn't better than AP. We'd rather have AP. No, none of that. If you give me a running back, you put Cam in it. You put Cam in it running back on Yahoo. I'll take Cam all day. I'll take Cam all day over AP all day long.
All day.
Don't even need to convince me. All day long, all day. Anyway, all right. So let's jump into to Thursday night. So we have an interesting game, a rematch of a very famous or infamous Super Bowl, however you want to look at this, where the Falcons and the Patriots play down in the Georgia in Atlanta. So, new stadium, maybe new Falcons. They look like the same old Falcons. The 47-point over-under on this one, guys. It's not looking to be a huge offensive fest. However, last time we talked about a game that wasn't supposed to have any scoring, it was the Colts and the Jets. And we all know how that turned out. So, we dare not say never again. But 47 over under, got the Pats favored by 7. So the math's easy here, 27-7 to 20. Ferg and I were talking about this offline. I would love to hear y'all's comments on this. I have no idea how the Falcons. No Calvin Ridley. Ruggs is garbage. Kyle Pitts is going to be double teamed. Mike Davis is terrible. You're relying on Williams and Matt Ryan to be your offense. I don't see it as well as the Patriots last 5 weeks. I just don't see them scoring 20 points, bro. 13, 14, maybe they get 2 touchdowns, but I really see like a 27-10 type game coming up here.
I'm with you. I don't see where the Falcons are going to get any points from. But as we sit here, we're on what now? Week 11. So we sit here every week, and then we give you these Thursday night stats, and then we fail to neglect every week that we don't talk about the fact of how these Thursday night games for road teams just turn into shit fest. I just don't see how Belichick would let that happen with this terrible ass Atlanta team. But for some reason, I don't know if it's got something to do, and I've never been a pro football player, so I don't know if it's got something to do with the quick turnaround, the conditioning, the travel, something about teams that are obviously better going on the road on Thursday night. They don't show up. We saw it last week with Baltimore, because I would have bet the lives of one of my children that Baltimore would have walked the dog on Miami last week. And then we saw how that turned out. That turned into a shit fest for the Ravens. So I don't think Atlanta can score 20 points, but if there was somewhere else I could place a small bet that says this comes down to a coup field goal or something like that for Atlanta to maybe sneak in and win this game, I wouldn't mind placing that bet. It won't be for a lot, but just something about Thursday nights just the numbers say that New England should just destroy these dudes.
Yeah. I mean, all over the place, Ferg. I'm with you. And real quick, tutelage. Yeah, Cam is the big back the Panthers needed, but they got to play him more in order to save CMC, because CMC is still going to get 25, 30 touch games, it seems like. So I agree with you, bro. And what's known best for, man? It's taking away the guy that beats you for the other team, right? And in this case, all the guys that beat you from the Falcons are either traded to Tennessee, not playing because of mental health, or a rookie, right? So they haven't had a running back in a while that's really scared anybody. Todd Gurley for the first 2 or 3 weeks last year, that's about it. And then he turned into Mike Davis. But it's like Kyle Pitts he's definitely the biggest offensive threat on their team. 100% Kyle Pitts is the biggest offensive threat. They're going to stop him. I wouldn't be surprised if he had 10 targets and 1 or 2 catches. Kyle Pitts is good, but he ain't Bill Belichick good.
He ain't Bill Belichick.
So I just don't believe. I don't believe in the Falcons to many points, and I would be shocked if they got more than 10. And we haven't mentioned yet. We're sponsored by the Phoenix Physical Therapy and Wellness Center, Vincent Roney Gardner. If you need more information, hit him up on Google or the Yelp, or Ferg. He'll tell you what the deets are. I guess Freeman for a few, I guess. But yeah, sure. I mean, 7 weeks, 8 weeks, but they don't scare me at all. I wouldn't. I mean, are you going to play Pitts? Yeah, if you have him, you're going to play him because you drafted him to play him, and he's a top 7 or 8 tight end, so you're definitely going to play him. Are you going to play Matt Ryan? Probably not. If you have another option, if you can go grab Mac Jones off the waiver wire, that would be a better play. I would definitely play Mac Jones over Matt Ryan this week. I mean, the Pats, man, you got such a turnaround from what we've been talking about, or football has been talking for a while. You can actually play a lot of Pats, right? So are you going to play Mac Jones if you have him? Yeah, why not? Why not? They're playing Atlanta. We've already talked about this. Atlanta is the third best team in the NFL to start fantasy QBs against. They are giving the third most points. And then Damian Harris, yeah, you're going to play him if he's active. You're going to play him for sure. And Pitts he won't even come close to that, Joe. 3 in a PPR league, in a full PPR league. And so you're going to play Harris, Ramondre Stevenson. That's another. Who knows? I mean, if Harris is active, he's going to be the lead back.
He's going to
and yeah, he might be better than him, but he's not. He's not the lead back.
Not yet.
Belichick does what he wants, and Harris was his guy. Harris was getting 20 plus carries a game before he went to concussion protocol. So there's no evidence saying otherwise. Yeah, Ramondre Stevenson had a great game last week, but it's a week, So I won't trust that at all. Hunter Henry, you're definitely playing Hunter Henry. We talked about him a little while ago. All he does is score touchdowns. And then the Pats D. You're playing the Pats D. I mean, shit, you're playing the Falcon. You're playing the Pats. Right? So you have a lot of options. Oh, and Bourne, we talked about him a little while ago. So, I mean, Jacoby, and you need him. He's a flex guy. Sure, why not? Him and Kendrick Bourne, if you're choosing between the two, I'd go probably Jacoby Myers because he has more snaps than Kendrick Bourne. And so just for pure access to passes, I guess, Jacoby Myers is getting more snap by 20%. So you definitely can go with either one of those receivers of the Patriots. For you from that?
No, you hit on all of those. I would say sometimes it doesn't really have to do anything with talent or it's a kind of football. It's a lot about relationships, just like business. I'm gonna always go Harris over Stevenson because I know that the ball coach at Alabama has given the kiss to Damian Harris, and that Belichick's gonna go with what he says. So Harris is going to be the starter until he gets hurt or he does no longer plays for the Patriots. As long as he's on that team playing with that guy's best friend, he's going to be the starter as long as he's not hurt.
Yeah.
So that's a no-brainer.
Yeah. No, I agree.
Now, if
you know what really I mentioned? I didn't mention Cordell Patterson. He's a game time decision. I don't even know if you play him if he starts. I mean, he has a mid, so I don't know if you're going to play him if he starts, especially against the Pats defense. That if he's on the field, he's the best player, and Belichick's going to take him away. or he's going to allocate some kind of resources to it. And Joe, yes, Kendrick Bourne has a higher ceiling, but he also has a lower floor. He doesn't see the snaps that Jacoby Myers does. So that's just the facts with that. It sucks because I like Kendrick Bourne way more than Jacoby Myers. Maybe it has a little bit to do that he went to NC State, but whatever. Ferg, did you want to say anything else about that?
My deep cut you just touched on. I'm going Gallman. I don't expect Patterson to be out there on the field. I go Gallman.
Yeah, I don't either.
And I mean, if you're playing Gallman, that means you probably didn't have any other options anyway, or you had to go get Gallman because you've been riding Patterson and you done missed out on picking up any other backs for the last 7-8 weeks anyway. But I'm not playing Mike Davis if I can avoid it. Hell, I might play anybody. I might play the Jets backup running back. I might play Ty Johnson and somebody from the Texans or something before I'm running Mike Davis out there as my starter. I say the same thing about Matt Ryan. I'm not playing Matt Ryan this week. You know what? For our bet this week, we normally keep up with our scores. Here's my bet for you this week. Joe Flacco has more fantasy points than Matt Ryan this week.
Bro.
Mark that one down.
When I heard that Flacco was going to be starting, I lost my mind. What in the is White hurt?
Like White is supposedly hurt, but he looked like shit last week. And at this point, why run your $40 million rookie back out there to get beat up again? Let's go with Flacco.
Well, let's talk about that, Ferg. Let's talk about this real quick. So having Joe Flacco does a couple of things for fantasy. First of all, you're not starting Flacco.
I am.
Don't even think about it. It's not a thing. Nothing that you want to do. Do not start Flacco. So don't hear what I'm not saying here. But that affects Michael Carter because Flacco doesn't throw the ball to the check down as much as White or even Wilson. Yes, the Jets are always an embarrassment, Joe. That goes back to the 70s. And but it does increase the fantasy reliability this week of Jamison Crowder. So last Flacco started, he targeted Crowder 11 times. Okay. And I think that was Jamison Crowder's best game. I think he had like 9 catches for like 70 and a touchdown or some shit like that. But it definitely changes things fantasy wise. So if you have Michael Carter, I mean, are you going to play him because the dude's been great for the last like 4 weeks? Probably. Right. But I would be, if you have a pivot that can get you 10 to 15 points, that may be the way that you want to go. Cause not really sure what's going to happen because they suck. So run the ball. So it's going to be Flacco sitting back in the pocket, throw the Jamison Crowder and whoever else can get open. I mean, I hope Elijah Moore has a good game. I don't hope that Corey Davis has a good game. So yeah, I don't trust it. So just be wary of that. And I think that's all I got on that.
Well, I mean, when I mentioned Flacco over Ryan, it's not your 10-team standard league, but I'm in a 12-team 2 QB league where QBs are so few and far between and so desperate for play that I had to play Mike White. So you might end up in a situation where you have to play a Flacco or something like that. It's either
okay. All right. Question. If you're in one of those deep leagues that you have a super flex and you need to start 2 QBs, or it's advantageous for you to start 2 QBs, would you start Goff or Flacco?
Flacco. Flacco. Pretty Flacco.
That makes me so happy.
Pretty Flacco, what they call him. I don't want no parts of Jared Goff.
Poor Jared Goff, bro. Like last week when I was watching football and in the fourth quarter, this dude was 11 for 24 with 84 yards. I just shook my head. I was like, do you know what? You know what that reminds me of? My boy JC. I was like, you know what that reminds me of, Jay? He's like, what? I said, that stat line that Goff has. I was like, it reminds me of Cam with the Pats.
See?
because that's a very Cam Newton line with the Pats. Very Cam Newton line. And Joe, I'm gonna have to disagree with you on this one, brother. I'm gonna go with Jeff on this because I watched that freaking Lion game last week, and all I needed was Deandre Swift to get me 20 points, and I would have been golden. And then nobody wanted to win that game, bro. Nah. Yeah, I think Flacco over Jared Goff. Jared Goff is terrible, bro. Like, have you watched him? He's
Play
terrible.
Flacco in a 2 QB league over Jared Goff. We give Jared Goff hell, but sometimes you hear stats on TV that you've never heard before. And when I heard that Jared Goff had never won a game, that Sean McVay wasn't the coach, I immediately knew that this dude was ass. Like, it was never going to be a case where he's going to get to another organization or somebody else is going to be able to be some quarterback whisperer is going to get hold of him. He has never won a game without McVay. So basically we're saying he never won a game without Aaron Donald and all that defense. Basically that's what they were saying. No defense and no Cooper Kupp. He's terrible.
Maybe that's what they were saying.
Give me Flacco for 1 week. It's because it's against Miami. And Miami, you can say what you want. Miami
for 1
defense. For 1 week, give me
1
Flacco.
week.
Now, if Detroit was playing the
shout
Texans,
out to the it may be different. It may be different. But let me tell you what, man. You know what the Detroit Lions didn't do last week?
Didn't lose.
They didn't lose. So, no, they didn't lose. Look, I know we're talking about Flacco. I'm not a fan either. Like, it makes me wanna cry that I would even have to think about starting Flacco. So you know what, Jeff? So now that you said that you have to start Flacco, let me tell you my predicament in Lucky 13. I mean, okay. All right. So in Hoofnagel, I got Aaron Jones, who's hurt, and AP. So I have to choose between AP, Jeff Will, and Jared McKissick. That's who I have to choose for him this week.
McKissick.
I have to start one of them, bro.
McKissick.
McKissick? They're playing the Panthers, though. So they're going to stop. You think the Panthers are going to stop the run? They're going to have to throw it out? Okay. I mean, I have them in my starting lineup as of right now. So,
you and I play in another league together, and I have been managing to get away with playing McKissick as my second running back for like the last 4 weeks because Washington's always losing. So I don't need you to score 90 points. Just give me 8 to 10 points on them 7 catches for 45 yards, and I can work the rest out.
That's all I need, bro.
With the rest of my team. That's all I need from them. So,
that's all I need. All I need is 10 points from you. Yeah, all I need is 10 points. I'm between McKissick and what's his nuts from the 49ers. So, but
now we have another chat
the stuff that's coming out of.
And our commissioner's in another chat that you guys probably can't see. He says that Detroit has a total NFL Europe roster. Goff will never be shit. So, hey.
It's very, 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 very true. And it's sad, but it's true. So, all right. So, Ferg, before we wrap this up, do you have anything else that you want to talk about?
No. The fact that we spent 7 minutes of my life talking about Joe Flacco today, that is enough trauma for me for one night. Shout out to our commissioner who wasn't here today. Shout out to our commissioner's mom, Miss Holloway. I probably have eaten more at her house than I eat in my own house ever in life. Having surgery tomorrow. Good luck with that, Mom. Shout out to everybody in Reedsville, Charlotte, Winston, Greensboro, Raleigh, Durham. Chris McDougal checking in the chat. Raleigh, another Winston-Salem State Ram. Appreciate you guys checking us out. You have any questions, let us know. Hit me on my page. We'll talk about anything, anybody. We don't care. We'll slide. Hey, we might need to slide some Premier League soccer in here next week to get some more fans. Hey, whatever you want to do, I'm down. Let us know. Give us any ideas. We'll talk about them.
You might be doing that segment on your own there, Ferg. I don't know
Hey,
shit
I
about
can
soccer.
give you some Liverpool
So,
Man U updates and stuff. I do watch the Peacock channel every now and then, so we can do that.
on the Peacock channel. Well, everybody, we appreciate you guys chiming in, loving the comments, always questions. We'll take all of them, put them on the NC 100 page. You can also hit me up, and I will relay the messages to Mr. Ferg, if they're for Ferg, at JMO Sports. That's JSCHMO Sports on all your major social media outlets and Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. We don't have a Snapchat. We don't do TikTok. Or the Joe Schmo Sports Show YouTube page. And you can ask those questions there too. And we will definitely answer them, put them in the chat and answer them when we go live next Wednesday. So for Mr. Big Jeff, Jay Ferg, my name is Clint. We'll see you next week. Peace out. Good luck.